Hello and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Tesla coil. And yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so once you have all your supplies, you're going to need to drill holes in your insulation plates in a triangle shape. One here, and one here. So we can take the nylon spacers and bolt them together like so. When you're finished, your plate should look something like this, with 3 holes in it along the outside, across from each other. Then you're going to need to take all 3 of those plates and space them evenly apart with these nylon spacers. And you'll have a bolt go through the middle. You'll have to cut these nylon spacers in half to get the second part. And then screw them together and you're ready for the next step. Next step is we have to take apart this arc lighter. So to do that, there's a very small screw on the bottom that you're going to need to take out. So you unscrew that and don't lose it because you might need it later, and the case will slide off like so, and you want to keep track of that push button. We will not actually need this part most likely because I will be installing a power switch. So the next part is to find the leads of where the charge is put out, and then we'll put some long wires on that, and then we'll get ready for the next step. I'll show you what that looks like in a bit. Alright, it is finished. It actually took a lot longer than I thought it would, but yeah, it was definitely a process putting all this insulation on and soldering all the wires, but when you're done it should look something like this. Make sure everything's insulated properly. This is going to be pulling a lot of electrical volts, so you need it insulated properly if it's going to work when you're done. And then we are going to stick it into this right here, our case that we made earlier. You're gonna have to find a good spot. I was thinking maybe right here because I still want the power button accessible, but we'll see. So yeah, figure that out and we'll move on to setting up the capacitors. Alright, so what I did is I took this extra piece of fiberglass here and I drilled some holes in it and ran across these capacitors to each other. They need to be soldered in the bottom. I did like a crisscross pattern here. I'd say it looks pretty good. Should fit perfectly on this, and so yeah, that is good to go. And then when you're done with that, just move on to the next step. Right, so next you are going to want to get these. It's basically a little L bracket with a nut and bolt, with 2 nuts on each side. This is making it so it's adjustable. This is going to be your spark gap. You need 2 of them, and there's going to be a charge jumping in between these 2 when your coil is done. Speaking of coil, you're going to need to get a PVC pipe. This one's 4.5 inches long, about 1.5 inches wide. That doesn't exactly matter, but just use whatever you have. And you're going to need to drill 2 holes, 1 on each end here, and that's so you can stick wire in it and wrap it up later, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. What you're going to need to do is get a drill and just somehow put it on the end. You could also, if your thing didn't fit, you could run a bolt through and put it in the end and you could wrap it up that way. But next, gonna find that hole, insert your wire in there, and then you're just gonna slowly go around and that will wrap it up. So this could take a really long time, so I'm not gonna show it on camera, but I'll show you what it looks like after. Use electrical tape to hold the wires in place once you're done with each end, and I'll show you what it looks like in a bit. It should look like when you're done. you should have the wire running all the way down. It does take a while, but eventually you'll figure it out and you'll get it right. And then you're going to need to take tons of tape and really insulate this bottom part, because we're going to need to put a wire outside of that. And then this top piece, obviously I showed it in the beginning of the video, you're going to take the top wire and run it to the bottom of this. And then I would suggest gluing this. I'm probably going to use hot glue, but whatever you have will probably work. But yeah, really make sure this bottom is insulated. That is very important, because otherwise you could fry your Tesla coil. And so yeah, this part is ready to go. Need to glue it and have a few more things, but that's about it, and you're ready to start wiring this thing together. Best when wiring this is you get some wires and test it out quick without soldering it before you put it in a permanent spot, because otherwise you might put it back together all the way and have it soldered and everything, and it won't work properly. So I'd suggest doing that first. Once you've done that and figured out that it works and stuff, then you can move on to soldering, which I'll have to do in a second. Alright, and I'll see you then. It is done. I would say it looks pretty good. Spark gap's pretty good. You'll have to adjust that to make sure it works properly. We got insulation on all the points. Also, we got the primary coil grounded to the bottom, and I would attach another wire running to a ground. That is this one right here, and that is that one. Secondary coil grounded. Alright, and primary coil is running to the capacitors. I'll show a wiring diagram above so you can figure it out yourself. But yeah, so it's good. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.